If your erections aren't as firm as they once were, if your stamina seems drained, or if you notice yourself avoiding intimacy, not because you want to, but because your body isn't responding, listen carefully. This doesn't always mean aging is to blame. Often, it's something simpler and far more correctable, a shortage of 3 vital nutrients your body desperately needs. I'm Dr. Juan Jamie's a men's health expert with more than 30 years of experience helping men over 60 reclaim their vitality, energy, and sexual confidence they thought was gone forever. Here's the truth most physicians never mention. For many older men, the real issue isn't a lack of desire, it's poor circulation, reduced stamina, and weak hormonal support. And in most cases, the solution isn't found at the pharmacy. It begins in your kitchen. Today, I'll reveal the 3 key vitamins every man over 60 should include, and how they can naturally restore erections, raise testosterone, and revive energy. Stay tuned, because I'll also expose the #1 mistake men make with these vitamins and how to prevent it starting tonight. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another essential tip for men's health after 60. And if this resonates with you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 and share how I can make these lessons more useful. Let's dive right in, starting with the first overlooked nutrient for improving blood flow and restoring natural erections in older men. It's something your body uses to create easily, especially when you spend time outdoors, but production declines sharply with age, along with circulation, stamina, and performance. I'm talking about vitamin D, also known as the sunshine vitamin. But for you, it may be the foundation for restoring strength and confidence. Let me explain. 1. Vitamin D, the circulation igniter. I recall sitting across from a 67-year-old man named Paul. Bright, kind, but clearly discouraged. "Doc," he told me, "I still want to be close to my wife, but my body doesn't cooperate anymore." That quiet confession is one I've heard hundreds of times, and more often than not, the real starting point isn't medication. It's vitamin D. This nutrient is one of the most underrated keys to men's health after 60. Most people think of it only for bones or sunlight, but in truth, vitamin D directly impacts male performance. It's a very trigger that allows blood vessels to relax and deliver oxygen-rich blood everywhere it's needed, including the areas that define manhood. When levels are low, circulation suffers, energy weakens, and intimacy becomes unnecessarily difficult. More than 40% of men over 60 are deficient in vitamin D. And these aren't unhealthy men. They exercise, eat reasonably, and still wonder, why don't I feel like myself anymore? Low vitamin D means your body makes less nitric oxide, the molecule that powers circulation and sexual performance. And this affects more than sex. It drains stamina, focus, and confidence. The upside? Fixing this doesn't require a complex routine. Just 15 to 20 minutes of early sunlight, more salmon, tuna, or fortified foods, and a quality vitamin D3 supplement can make a dramatic difference. I've seen men who could barely finish a short walk suddenly feel energized and reconnect with their partners. This isn't hype, it's biochemistry, and it's one of the simplest steps to regaining strength. Still, vitamin D is only part of the picture. Even with proper circulation, your body needs steady energy to sustain performance. That's where our second nutrient comes in. And if you've ever felt exhausted without reason, it may be the missing key to the energy you've been craving. Let's talk about that now. 2. Vitamin B12, the natural fuel source. A few years ago, I met Robert, age 72, a retired firefighter and proud grandfather. Despite his strong presence, he looked completely worn down. He said, "Doc, I sleep well and eat right, but I still feel drained every single day. My mind feels cloudy. My body feels drained. And when it's time to share intimacy with my wife, I just don't have the strength anymore." Robert's words stayed with me because they were so familiar and so often overlooked. What he was describing was a classic case of vitamin B12 deficiency, something I see constantly in men over 60. This vitamin is essential for energy creation. Without it, your body struggles to turn food into usable fuel. No matter how much you rest or how healthy you eat, without enough B12 your system simply runs on empty. It's also critical for making red blood cells, which deliver oxygen to your brain, muscles, and yes, your sexual organs. When those cells are lacking, everything slows down. Your stamina fades, your focus dulls, and you may feel disconnected from the passions that once motivated you. The challenge is that as men age, their ability to absorb B12 from food declines. Even if you're eating plenty of meat, eggs, or dairy, it may still not be enough. That's why so many older men feel exhausted, weak, or mentally foggy, even when their test results look fine on paper. The good news is that the fix is simple. Adding high-quality B12 supplements, or in some cases, receiving doctor-prescribed injections, can rapidly restore energy, mental clarity, and a sense of being fully alive again. I've seen men go from dozing off midday to hiking, laughing, and being completely present with their families, all from correcting a deficiency they didn't even know existed. But energy is only part of the story. Your body also needs a fence, something that protects blood vessels, reduces silent inflammation, and supports the hormones that define manhood. That's where the third vitamin enters. Often nicknamed the fertility vitamin, its role goes far beyond reproduction. Without it, both testosterone and circulation may already be declining. Let's dive in. 3. Vitamin E, the fertility protector. I once met James, a 70-year-old retired pilot who came into my office feeling defeated. He said, "Doc, I eat clean, I work out, I do everything right, but I feel off. My desire is fading, my recovery is slow, and honestly, I don't feel like myself anymore." That struck me because James wasn't careless or unhealthy. He was disciplined and dedicated, but he was missing something most doctors rarely address: vitamin E. This nutrient is far more than a skin aid. It's a powerhouse for men's health, especially beyond 60. Vitamin E is a natural antioxidant that fights oxidative stress and inflammation, the hidden forces that damage blood vessels, lower hormones, and weaken reproductive health as you age. When inflammation builds, blood flow slows, testosterone dips, and energy collapses. It's not sudden, but steady. And before long, men like James lose edge without realizing why. What makes vitamin E vital is its role in keeping blood vessels flexible and circulation strong. Erections aren't just about desire, they're about blood supply. And when blood doesn't flow, performance falters. On top of that, vitamin E supports testosterone production, which becomes increasingly critical after 60. Low testosterone affects more than intimacy. It drains mood, drive, and purpose. The solution is simple: almonds, sunflower seeds, spinach, olive oil, or when needed, a high-quality supplement can restore what's missing. I've seen men like James return months later, sharper, more energetic, and far more connected to life. But here's the real breakthrough. What happens when these three vitamins are combined? Do they reinforce each other? The answer is yes. When used together, they create a chain reaction that can transform not only your stamina and erections, but your entire experience of aging. Let's uncover that now. 4. Why these three vitamins work better together. Years ago, I worked with Walter, a 68-year-old former coach who always prided himself on staying active. He started with vitamin D, later added B12 for fatigue, and finally began using vitamin E after. James understood the role of testosterone, but it wasn't until he began taking all three nutrients regularly and in the right balance that everything finally shifted. I'll never forget the day he walked into my office, smiling wide and saying, "Doc, I don't know what you changed, but I feel like I've been given a brand new engine." That's the magic of synergy. These vitamins don't just function on their own. They enhance and reinforce one another. Vitamin D sparks circulation by boosting nitric oxide. Vitamin B12 increases red blood cell production, carrying oxygen through that improved circulation. And vitamin E protects the blood vessels that deliver it all while supporting testosterone, the very hormone that fuels energy and drive. Individually, they matter, but together, they form what I call the vitality triangle: circulation, stamina, and hormone balance working in unison. This matters even more as you age because your body doesn't recover like it used to. Nutrient absorption slows, inflammation rises, healing takes longer, and one missing piece can disrupt the whole system. But when these three are combined, the body begins to remember its old rhythm. You may notice deeper sleep, sharper focus, stronger responses, and renewed emotional confidence. That spark of assurance returns, and no prescription can replace it. Walter's story wasn't rare. I've watched the same turnaround in countless men who take these nutrients seriously and commit to making them part of their daily lives. But here's the problem. Most men never feel these benefits. Why? Because they fall into a common trap that erases all the progress they are working toward. And chances are, you might be making the same mistake without realizing it. Let's talk about what it is and how to fix it. 5. The number one mistake most men make. One morning, a man named Gerald came into my office carrying a plastic grocery bag full of supplements. He was 74, intelligent, and clearly determined to take control of his health. He lined up the bottles on my desk and said, "Doc, I've been taking all of these for months, but I'm still tired, foggy, and honestly, nothing's changing in the bedroom." His voice carried the disappointment I've heard far too often. The biggest mistake men make, especially over 60, is thinking that simply swallowing supplements will solve the problem. Too often, they buy cheap synthetic versions from discount stores or random websites, assuming all vitamins are equal. But they are not. The type, the quality, and the dosage determine whether your body absorbs and uses them, or just flushes them away. Take vitamin B12. Most bargain brands use cyanocobalamin, a form many older men cannot convert. The body actually needs methylcobalamin, the active version it can use immediately. The same goes for vitamin D. D2 is inexpensive but far less effective than D3. And with vitamin E, synthetic versions often lack the complete spectrum needed to truly support testosterone and blood flow. Another mistake? Inconsistency. Taking vitamins once or twice a week when you remember won't rebuild energy, restore circulation, or balance hormones. Your body thrives on steady rhythm and daily support, not random effort. When Gerald upgraded to better quality forms and committed to taking them consistently, the difference was striking. Within weeks, he was sleeping more soundly, waking up refreshed, and, his own words, feeling like a man again. That transformation didn't come from working harder. It came from doing it correctly. Now that you understand what works and what undermines progress, the next step is creating a daily plan. You may be wondering, how do I make this routine part of my life without overcomplicating it? That's exactly where we're headed next. A simple, realistic plan any man can follow to rebuild energy, performance, and vitality day after day. 6. Your daily vitality routine. When I work with older men, the question I hear most often, usually asked with a mix of hope and hesitation, is, "Doc, just tell me what to do each day. I don't want gimmicks or trends. I just want something that works." And that's a request I respect, because at this stage of life, consistency and simplicity are what truly matter. Let me introduce you to Frank, a 66-year-old retired carpenter who came to see me after months of struggling with fatigue, restless nights, and a fading spark in the bedroom. We didn't overhaul his lifestyle or load him up with a cabinet full of pills. Instead, we built a simple but powerful daily rhythm centered on the very vitamins we've been discussing, and it transformed his life. Each morning, Frank would begin with a tall glass of water and his B12 supplement taken alongside a protein-rich breakfast. After eating, he'd head outside for a short 15-minute walk in the sun to naturally stimulate vitamin D. On cloudy days or during winter, he relied on a high-quality D3 supplement with his first meal. At lunch, a handful of almonds or sunflower seeds, plus a drizzle of olive oil over his salad, gave him his vitamin E. That was it. No strict routines, no extremes, just small, consistent choices. Within a few weeks, Frank noticed he had more stamina to play with his grandkids, a stronger connection with his wife, and a quiet but powerful confidence he thought he'd lost years ago. He didn't feel like a younger man. He felt like a better, stronger version of himself. The truth is, you don't need a dozen bottles or complicated schedules. What you need is consistency, the right nutrients in the right forms, and the mindset that says, "I'm still in charge of my health." Because you are. Now, as we close, I want to leave you with one final message, something every man over 60 needs to hear, but rarely does. If you ever wondered whether it's too late to feel strong, vibrant, and fully alive again, I want you to know the answer may surprise you. If you've stayed with me this long, let me speak to you directly. Not as a doctor, but as someone who spent over 3 decades sitting across from men just like you. Men who worked hard, raised families, built legacies, and now quietly ask themselves, why doesn't my body feel the way it used to? That question isn't weakness. It's strength. It's proof that you're still fighting, still searching for energy, connection, and meaning. And I deeply respect that. We've talked about 3 vital nutrients. Vitamin D, the circulation spark that opens blood vessels and restores flow where you need it most. Vitamin B12, the fuel source that powers your brain, muscles, and endurance. And vitamin E, the defender that protects your heart, supports testosterone, and keeps your system running strong. But here's the real truth. Knowing their names doesn't change your life. Using them daily does. These nutrients don't just feed your body. They restore your identity, your confidence, your role in your relationships, and the way you feel when you wake up each morning. I've seen too many men find new strength, even when they thought their best years were behind them, to believe otherwise. So, what now? That choice is yours. You can file this away and carry on as usual. Or you can act. You can decide to give your body the support it's been quietly asking for. Take the walk. Take the supplement. Choose health. And choose your future. Because here's what I know without a doubt. It is not too late. Not even close. You still have time to feel strong again. You still have time to reconnect. And you still have time to live fully, boldly, and unapologetically as a man you know you are. You've already taken the first step by being here. Now it's time to take the next one. If this message spoke to you, inspired you, or gave you hope, don't keep it to yourself. Hit the like button so we know it's making an impact. Share it with a brother, a friend, or someone you care about who needs to hear this today. And if you have a minute, leave a comment below. Tell me what stood out most, or what topic you'd like me to cover next. Your feedback shapes this community. If you'd like to go even further in supporting the channel and helping us continue creating content for men over 60, consider making a small contribution. Every bit helps us produce better videos, reach more men, and spread this message of vitality. You're not just a viewer, you're part of a movement. And I'm honored you're here. Take care of yourself, stay strong, and I'll see you in the next video.